Good morning. I feel like I'm saying good morning all the time, but it is a good morning. So as you already know, because that's the reason you signed up, we've got an amazing webinar today, which was obviously titled "Insurance in the Age of COVID-19," which is, I think, a really hot topic. It's other than there's in quotes it says a need for an exceptional approach, and I think it's above all more than exceptional. So because these are really challenging times, I think, for businesses and individuals. But let's talk about our speakers. We have the two keynote speakers today. We have Aftab Hassan, the Chief Executive Officer of the ARA Insurance Brokerage Company. So I would like to also introduce, we have our co-speaker, which is Talat Baya, the co-founder and CEO of BISAT. So, excuse me for my pronunciation, but I do my best. So why don't we just start right in then, and may I ask Aftab, could you actually just chime right in, and I would love to give you the mic so that you can go ahead, please. Good morning.
Thank you for the introduction, Diana. Well, good morning, friends and colleagues. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak in this virtual conference, which has been named as webinar due to obvious reason, to reach you through the web rather than physically. As we all know that COVID-19 pandemic has shattered the entire economies of the world and has influenced almost all business sectors, including insurance. And this pandemic has severely impacted, as you know, that many industries such as travel, transportation, energy, manufacturing, retail, hospitality, etc. And in recent weeks, the environment has become even more volatile. Global panic has been unleashed by the emergence of the COVID-19 coronavirus, we all know, which has produced a social and economic upheaval of a magnitude that has surprised every one of us. Fear is widespread, and the paralysis of economic activities in many sectors is a fact. Industrial production, tourism, and even insurance are being affected, and the markets have reacted with a bang, with brutal falls right across the world's major stock exchanges, which we all have seen. It is still early to predict the overall effects of this phenomena, but economic research anticipate that it will cut global GDP growth by at least 0.5 point this year, if not. Although the impact on the insurance sector is less severe than other sectors, but it will still be significant and highly disruptive, ranging from either employee and business continuity issues, client service consideration to operating profit. And during these crises, businesses are also adverse to face risk, such as employee work-related injuries, business interruption, disruption to supplies, lack of access to credit. These risks normally affect the business investment plan, preparations, and response to such calamity. WHO is bringing the world's scientists and global health professionals, as we all know, that together to accelerate the research and development process and develop new norms and standards to contain the spread of the coronavirus pandemic and help care for those affected. Though we hope of an effective COVID-19 vaccine being developed in the near future, and day before yesterday, it has been raised after 2 separate studies showed potential positive results, hopefully, finger crossed. Today, the world is facing the coronavirus crisis, a pandemic that has changed life for millions of people. Many who are locked at home, others who are called to be serving a noble profession, such as doctors, healthcare workers, paramedics, and working to help and prevent the virus, also need the reassurance and the hope that we shall overcome this crisis shortly. Friends, SMEs contribute, as we all know, significantly to employment and innovation. The reality is that many of them either are at the verge of collapsing or remain sluggish, which adversely impacts the sector's ability to fulfill its employment and growth potential. Underwriting and reviewing any business requires business data, such as information on the revenue, assessment of risk, whereas due to obvious constraints and limitations is often difficult to interpret given the informal natures of our SMEs and their complex insurance requirement, which make it more challenging for insurers to customize products for those businesses. Although the COVID-19 outbreak is causing widespread concern and increasing economic hardship for consumers, businesses, and communities at the same time, it will also create a huge opportunity for the industry. As with every problem, as we say, there is a solution and an opportunity to learn, create something that's meaningful, and might give us more options to build our business robust, employing the right insurance cover for today as well as the coming days in future. And we know that large corporates and some SMEs normally have their own business continuity plan, but they may not fully address the fast-moving and unknown variables of an outbreak or a global pandemic like this, which was never before experienced on this large scale in our lifetime. So usually, contingency plans promote operational effectiveness. Events like natural disasters, cyber incident, financial crisis, among other crises. They do not normally consider the widespread contagious ailment or quarantines or work from home, extended schools closure, added travel restriction, irregular banking hours that may occur in the case of such an emergency. And this crisis has raised several unique challenges which are being faced today. Let me tell you honestly, this is the time to prove the value of the relationship in whatever business or trade we are in, such as for me as an insurance intermediary, handling large corporates, SMEs to individual clients. My behavior with policyholder has to reflect positively, giving them the solace and comfort outside the policy terms and conditions at this particular juncture, at this hour of the need. As our emphasis will be more on having a consultative approach to address broader personal issues which are critical to support my clients' needs. If you may ask me what insurance all is about, my simple answer will be insurance is an advice-based business built on knowledge and information from various sources. And as a practitioner of insurance and as an intermediary or a broker or advisor or consultant to policyholders, it is an opportunity to demonstrate our value at a time when they are distressed and looking for a piece of professional advice to survive in this turbulent time. Otherwise, we are not justifying our profession, which might face reputational or litigational risk if our firm is seen as ignoring policyholders or concern or dismissing employees' concern or safety. The crisis, in my opinion, is expected to further accelerate the shift to digital and direct distribution channels, as social distancing will remain in place for some time and until this pandemic is completely exterminated. Furthermore, we cannot ignore the growing impact of these unprecedented events, which are having serious implications on the accounts of insurance companies and reinsurers. We are preparing to respond better over time with a great understanding of these events. We are raising our technological underwriting skills with the use of modern technology tools to better manage this risk. In addition, we are also collaborating with other organizations and institutions to exchange experience and knowledge. As you may be knowing that my company, Arya Insurance Brokerage, was acquired in 2017 by Bezat Holding, which is a technology company. And after being acquired, or our last few years of work, which we completed the first phase of the Digital Challenge Initiative, making the environment more flexible at our workplace and more collaborative to clients and insurers, creating a knowledge stores that promotes knowledge management throughout the organization, promoting new behaviors and habits, and implementing a new system of continuous agile evaluation. So as a consumer or policyholder, we need to review the technical and digital capabilities and consider partnering with InsurTech partners to source leads and process application, such as my organization, Bezat, present viable alternatives to client to serve SMEs and individuals, as they already act as aggregators and have an established trust, communications, and payment channel with their customers and insurers. As we all know, friends, about the important and unique role our industry, the insurance industry, is played in this in our daily lives of millions of people. We all want an insurance industry that is sustainable, innovative, and competitive, one that customers can trust upon so they can have confidence that the everyday services they need are provided in a straightforward way. Put simply, this means that our success is simply built on delivering on the commitments we make to our customers in a fair and transparent way. That's what I'm here to talk about today. And in today's session, I got the opportunity to represent the sentiment of insurance and reinsurance industry during this tough time as Secretary General of Insurance Business Group, representing my peers. At the same time, my key aim in this webinar is to hear the sentiment from you as the audience, so that we as professionals from the insurance industry will have the chance to share practical advice on current ongoing issues related to our industry at large. Friends, as you know, the last couple of months have been observed as a differentiator for everyone engaged in whatever trade you are in from the early days, and same is with the practitioner of insurance. We are here to listen to all your views and to continue building the constructive dialogue we have in our respective demography. This is an opportune time to reflect on where we have come from BC days before Corona and where we are heading to engage ourselves with you in the upcoming years. In my closing remark, would like to send a final message to everyone also in these difficult days that we all are going through due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a very tough time. Many countries are unfortunately suffering or will suffer in the coming days a sharp increase in the number of people affected, and unfortunately fatally so. I would like to salute our leadership in UAE, along with our healthcare workers, police and security personnel, and fellow citizens and residents who have shown exemplary behavior during these tough times, which led to the containment of the spread of the virus while bringing down the numbers affected each day drastically. Our clients, intermediaries, providers, and ourselves as employees can all potentially affected by this disease. The forecasts are not at all favorable, and I ask you to act prudently, but without fear, always following the recommendations of the health authorities of each country while if you are traveling, and trying not to take unnecessary risk with personal or professional activities. And our best wishes from Baizak, from ARIA, for a speedy recovery, which go out to all those who are already affected. Hopefully, we can overcome this situation as best as possible, both in terms of personal health and in terms of the economic damage that may be caused. So with these words, I will take a pause here and would like to call upon my co-speaker, Talal Bhaiya, CEO of Baizat, to go through his brief presentation on the outlook and sentiment of the InsurTech landscape. Here, I hand over to you, Talal.
Thank you.
First,
Thank you,
just
Aftab.
I just want to thank you, Aftab, because you could feel the heartfelt information from you. This has been a very trying time, and I'm sure our insurance brokerage company was amazing, helping many people, other than just with the information, probably just to listen to them and guide them. So I want to thank you for that. Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but it needed to be said.
So kind of you. We are overwhelmed. Thank you.
Great. So, I think it's apparent at this point that the COVID-19 pandemic is accelerating the pace at which technology is being adopted across all industries. And today I wanted to really talk about what that means when it comes to technology in the insurance and broader financial services sector. I need to be able to share my screen. It says it's disabled. You're on mute, Dan.
Heba, you're the host, so you have to go in the back end and let them share the screen, please.
Otherwise, just make host to Talal for a while, and then once he will share the screen and finish it, that's my recommendation.
Great, it's working now. Great. So, to start off, I want to talk about the concept of finance at the edge. And what that refers to is the fact that, technology companies are becoming an important part of the financial services industry. And they're complementing, or in many cases, substituting the traditional players such as banks, insurance companies, or investment brokerages. And finance at the edge is not something that's happening in the future. It's already live. It's becoming very mainstream. And when you think about the advantages of fintech, or when you think about the concept of finance at the edge, it's really that when you think about all the consumer data, all the sales touch points, all the engagement touch points around financial services, what we find is that actually the companies outside of financial services are the best suited to be creating and distributing these products, right? For example, if you think about, home content insurance, today it's sold by insurance companies and reinsured by reinsurers. But who actually has the best data to underwrite and create these products? Would it be someone like IKEA or Amazon, who know what goods you're purchasing, their depreciation value, your replacement cycles? Who is best suited to be selling these products? Is it actually the insurance broker, or is it your landlord, right? Because that's the right touch point to be thinking about it. And I think where this is really coming to life right now is with cyber liability insurance, right? Which is probably the most buzzing segment right now in the insurance industry. Cybersecurity breaches have become a major problem, and people need to insure these risks, right? But when you look at who's best suited to be insuring these risks, right? So you have the traditional players such as, AXA, Generali, reinsurers such as Munich Re, Allianz. But the reality is, where does all the data to actually underwrite and create these products sit, right? It sits on the technology side. You have the likes of Amazon, Microsoft, Google, who are the three biggest cloud hosting providers. They have incredible amounts of data to understand the risks around cyber liability. You have security companies such as McAfee and Cisco, right? Again, they have different sets of data, but again, the right touch point to be selling you cyber liability and to be actually underwriting these products. And the same goes with GoDaddy, which is a third bucket, which is the domain registrars, right? So when we think about finance at the edge, it's really about, if you're thinking about who can build the best customer experience and the most powerful products for customers, who is it? Is it actually these fintech companies or the traditional insurance companies? And I'll give you a few more examples that are pretty interesting, right? So there's a company called Beam Dental. They sell dental insurance, right? So in the US, when you buy your dental insurance, it's separate from your health insurance. But customers aren't actually going to them to buy dental insurance. They're going to buy an electric toothbrush that gives you data around your oral care. And based on that, they're able to actually underwrite you, and they're able to actually increase or decrease your premium. And the toothbrush comes for free, right? They're monetizing on the insurance piece. When you think about Neos, right? So it's a home security company, but actually what they're selling at the end of the day is home insurance, right? So they're using all your IoT devices to start actually underwriting and distributing home insurance products. So when we look at, where fintech is moving, it's really being driven by three types of fintechs. So the first is customer-centric technology platforms, similar to Beam Dental and Neos that I just shared. So these are technology solutions, and plugged into these in the back end is a fintech service, right? And this is actually the bucket in which Bayzat sits. The second one is plug and play infrastructure providers, right? So when you think about financial services, it's quite costly to actually become a financial service player, to actually distribute these products and create them. So, you have elements of fraud management, risk management, compliance, licensing. All these things are starting to be provided as a service, as a technology service, meaning that any company can come to these providers and plug in different financial products into what they're selling today. So we're seeing, for example, in e-commerce, we're seeing that people are able to buy insurance on every single device or good they're purchasing on an e-commerce platform. And in the backend, it's being provided by one of these plug and play infrastructure providers. And then the third and probably the most exciting part is the AI and machine learning. So, I think we all hear about AI, and it's already it's already in use in the insurance sector. We've also been working on something around machine learning, and it's all about how do we start pricing more effectively to customers, right? And I'll talk about that in the context of Bezat shortly. But what the general consensus is right now is that in the future, every company will be a fintech. Because when you think about financial services, right, it's not the mean, it's an end to a mean, right? You're purchasing insurance, but you're only purchasing it to protect your vehicle, right? You're purchasing health insurance, but you're actually only purchasing it to get access to better healthcare. So it's always the means to an end. Even on the banking side, why are you opening a bank account? Because you need to purchase goods. And what that means is the companies that are actually at the top of the funnel, right, at the top of the customer touch point, will start disrupting the traditional players because they'll just start plugging in various fintech solutions into their existing offering as an add-on, right? So at the end of the day, many of the products that we look at today and we think about, you know, bank accounts, credit cards, health insurance, motor insurance, are actually better suited to be a feature of a product rather than a standalone product, right? And, you know, I may look young, but the analogy here that I remember is we used to buy a camera, right? It was a standalone product, but now it's only a feature of a product that provides a wider context of value, which is your smartphone. And this is really the trend where we see traditional financial services moving. So just to give you a, you know, kind of bring this back home on how this is relevant to Bezat. So we provide a work-life platform that actually allows you to provide better HR, health insurance, payroll, and employee benefits to your employees, right? And what we do is we give you this HR platform at no cost, right? And through that, we're able to leverage the data to really improve your experience around different insurance services, right? And then financial services in general. So the company was founded in early 2014. And since that time, we already have, we serve 1,000 companies, which is almost 60,000 employees. And we've done over 200 million dirhams in health insurance premiums alone, right? So we're definitely seeing that we've been able to scale much faster than a traditional player through the strategy of finance at the edge, right? And I'll give you some examples, right? So today on our platform, we provide a payroll solution, right? So I think everyone here might be pretty familiar with what a payroll module is. Takes all your data from your leaves, from your attendance, calculates the payroll, makes sure everything is in line with UAE labor laws, calculates gratuity, end of service, etc. Which is a great value proposition. But to take it one step further, we've actually plugged in financial services into it. So now through the platform, you're actually able to process the payroll for your employees at no cost. You're able to give payroll cards to unbanked employees at no cost. And it's all happening through the platform. We have a product that we launched called Early Pay, right? So today, if you think about all the data we have on the employee, we know when they were hired, their salary structure, we know if they're on their probation period, what deductions are in their salaries, how many leaves they have left. So we're able to actually leverage this data to let employees get paid as they earn their daily wage, rather than wait till the end of the month. And it's a holistic experience because at the end of the month, as we're processing the payroll for the company, it's automatically deducted from the employee. And what this does for the employees is it helps reduce their credit card debt, right? Because instead of paying high interest rates, they're getting money that they've already earned, right? They're not taking a loan on future earnings. So this gives you an idea of how we're able, from what seems to be just a regular HR feature of, you know, payroll management, introduce financial services. I'll talk about, you know, health insurance, which is our bread and butter and really where we started. So today you're managing all your employee data on the platform, right? Buying health insurance is a pretty arduous process. Could take up to a month. Well, now we're actually able to just pull the data from your platform, price policies in real time, and actually enroll everybody in those policies in almost real time. Will be real time soon on select insurance products, right? And you think about the experience today. So an employee is joining, you're adding them onto the platform, you're onboarding them through our HR platform. And that same flow, we can actually add them in real time to the insurance policy. And now your employee, instead of actually waiting to be added to the policy, which takes almost a week, they can just open up the same app you provided them with for all their employee benefits, and they can do things like book a doctor, they can submit a claim, and submit their prescription online, the medicine will be delivered to them, right? So this gives you an idea of how companies are now starting to move past what was two separate things, which would be an HR platform and financial services and health tech, and merging it together. And because of that, we're also able to provide the technology solution at no cost to the customers. So I'll give you a last one, which is our employee perks, right? So, financial services is really built around life-changing moments of an individual. So, banks and insurance companies are waiting for somebody to be hired, get a salary increase, expecting a child, getting married, buying a home, or having life-changing disabilities or diseases. The entire financial services industry is looking for these touch points to sell you the right products, right? Now, we can actually use our economies of scale and our technology to provide these seamlessly to any team member, right? So somebody expecting a newborn might not be thinking about term life, but we've actually built a completely automated solution from the ground up that can leverage this touch point. And when the employee is ready, can say 2 clicks, and I'm actually gonna buy the most affordable cover to make sure my newborn is protected, right? A life-changing disability or disease that comes in as a claim, you can actually just use the platform to find the right specialist within your network and book it in 1 click. So that's really, how we've positioned our strategy. It's about providing a work-life platform that helps the company save time and money and gives their employees a world-class experience. That's it from my side. I think I'll hand it over now, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, before we get to the questions, because we have quite a few there, I'm going to say complimenti, as that's what they would say in Italian, my compliments, because I adore the integration factor, and to the fact that you've got the perks in there. The simple idea, which is not quite as simple as it probably is, it seems, is the fact that you could actually book a doctor through the application, which doesn't seem like rocket science, that someone, when they're going through those life-changing moments, to know that not only that your company, technologically speaking, is actually cares. So that was, how long ago did you actually put all those perks in? Was that initial part of the package?
So, the company today is around 170 employees, around 35 to 40% are in our engineering and product. And this is really, back to how fintechs can compete, right? So we're launching a new feature every 2 to 3 weeks, either a major feature or a feature improvement. So, doctor bookings probably came out around 6 months ago. And over a period of 6 months, we've pretty much built out our own term life product as well. That's fully automated, and some of the other perks as well. And that's really because, it's not because we're actually, substantially better than traditional players, but when you think about startups, technology has evolved as well, right? So we're starting our company using modern technologies, which actually allows us to develop features at a pace that's probably 10 times faster than a company that started building their platform 10 years ago or 20 years ago, where they're using outdated technologies.
Yeah, in fact, actually, we had a webinar the other day, and it was about education. And someone mentioned something to us that, in, like I'd say, in Canada, I know from a fact that sometimes with our insurance companies, we actually buy, it's not really like an insurance, it's like a package where you put money for your newborn towards their education, like an education package. Do you see something like that happening in the future?
I think there's a lot of changes coming when it comes to employee benefits. Education is one where, it used to be a big thing in the UAE to get support for your child's education. The cost became unbearable for companies, so it doesn't happen as often anymore. So I think there's definitely room for innovation there. One thing we're keeping a close eye on as well is employee pensions, right? Which is kind of related. I think COVID-19 was the perfect storm for the gratuity model. As I looked at, our platform of 60,000 employees, actually a lot of them, there wasn't a lot of layoffs, right? But there was a lot of unpaid leaves, and we can see this data happening in real time. And what we came to learn is that most companies just simply couldn't afford to pay the gratuity to their employees. So they would rather just put them on unpaid leave. So it's been an issue that's been ongoing for 10, 20 years. I think COVID-19 was the perfect storm for this model, and I think we'll see hopefully sometime next year a pensions law coming into place for the UAE to protect employees.
So as in many of the cases, COVID-19 was an accelerated growth for certain platforms or certain types of ways of working. We've actually have something from one of our panelists here, not panelists, sorry, one of our participants. They said there's a registered education savings plan, an RESP, that takes place here. So that's good to know. I do actually, actually the one, let's just get to some of the questions here, gentlemen, if you don't mind. We might as well just look at him. I've got, should insurance companies insist that business clients, particularly SMEs, must establish BC and risk management process to reduce high claims under current uncertainties? So I guess I'm going to leave. I'm at Tab. I think I'm leaving that to you.
Okay. See, that's correct, because business continuity plan was something which every SMEs, they should have. But the thing is that it's just not for the sake of compliance in their book, but the objective is to ensure the safety of employees and your external partners, to protect customers and stakeholders and ensure continuity of your business. And yes, I can talk on behalf of my company. Yes, we have got a very robust infrastructure in terms of business continuity plan. And thanks to all the investment which was made from the parent company, Visa, as we say, because the investment in technology, the processes and, controls, and having a dedicated team of specialists all played a crucial role in responding to COVID-19. In terms of establishing a crisis management team in our organization, which has been activated, to respond to all the queries and requests related to COVID situation of my clients and customers. What we have done is from our side to minimize any risks that affect the well-being and health of the customers. If it comes to claims, definitely, as you know, the government, the authorities, they received, for us, instruction to waive cost sharing for coronavirus testing, which means they will not be charged for the test if advised by a physician. Though it was not clear in the beginning, but then later on, both the health authority in Abu Dhabi and health authority in Dubai, they came up with the understanding that health authority of Abu Dhabi said that it will be taken care by the government. It means the cost will be absorbed. But anyway, for the policyholder, they don't have to bother at both the places, because here, as per DHA, that this has to be absorbed by the insurance company. So they both are eligible in that case. In terms of the gentleman which is asking about the claims, the business which has sustained a loss as a result of, if I understand, if he meant the because of the COVID-19 situation, it is imperative that, any damages have to be well documented. And then the claims advisors, they have to contact whoever it is. They are working with a broker, they are working with an insurance company, and they are prepared to assist on any potential claim and facilitate the investigation and coverage review of the matter with your insurers. I can talk on our behalf that we already advised in the beginning that, all the placement or renewals or operational issues and detailed information related to renewals of the ongoing policies, we already asked our, the designated accounts managers to get in touch with our clients, and through emails or call, and their numbers are there. So we are taking care on day-to-day basis. So definitely we are committed to providing the best service to our customers on a continual basis, and will continue to strive for this while respecting the situation we are experiencing.
Yes, I can imagine the information is forever changing and forever growing. So thank you for keeping abreast of all the information, because that's what safeguards all your clients, and all the information that they can get from you is coming from a true source. We actually have another question here. It says we have the questions: how would individuals and companies how would individuals and companies ensure that they have a choice in the terms of covering costs, which they may lose under the arrangement? Is there some possibility they may lose some of the possibilities of the coverage and costs? Yes, sorry.
I got it. That's a normal question we get on day-to-day basis after this COVID. As I said, in the beginning, that these are extremely challenging times for individuals, families, businesses, and indeed for the society at large. And we, as practitioner of insurance, or the consultant or the advisor to my clients, we know that we have to be more agile in our response, and we should be connecting the policyholders and the insurers, both together. To get their needs at this particular time. The normal, if I talk about in any policies, if it comes to force majeure, the force majeure clauses which are always there, which is normal. And when it comes to pandemic, which has been declared by WHO on the larger scale, I'm talking about on a global scale, which today, definitely it goes down to take care by the authorities, or if I say the regime or the government, wherever you are, they should take care, because these are natural calamities. Natural calamities, normally, if it is designated from the insurance perspective I'm talking about, doesn't fall under the periphery of your benefits, which you have. But at the same time, this is the time where perhaps one remnant of the coronavirus calamity could be that it propels more insurers to adapt and embrace, the new normal to survive. And in that respect, if we say survive, our survival or the insurance company's survival is with the policyholders. So they tend to keep those clients in their book, as much as possible, to play a key role or a vital role to support their own customers through the ongoing crisis, as well as even, I believe, in the post-crisis, to actively contribute to the recovery. That's what I can say from here.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, I'm sure that is a big question on everyone's minds. They just want to know of their costs and the coverages and how things might change. Actually, we've got
one thing, Adana, I forgot to mention as well here, which is important, because we have learned, from our experience that, because in our lifetime, even I don't think even my grandfather must have seen this, or this sort of calamity, 100 years or so. So we have not experienced that. And those were the days when, when we are talking about Spanish flu or any other, people were not traveling, across. So even the spread was not that which you see today, So today, what the situation I'm seeing is that we all have to learn that there are certain important things, and from the insurance perspective, I can talk about that. As we say, that insurance is always used as a mitigator from any bad avenues, which is going to fall, whether individually or on your personal level or in your organization, on that level. So there are products which we have been ignoring, even as a corporate or SMEs, which they should seriously look into it. And those are, like, for example, earlier days, we never thought of buying a D&O policies, and which is directors and officers, to cover from any sort of legal dispute, which ends up in the court, and then there is also reputative damage of your organizations and the credibility and many other things, and the cost of legal implications of taking it in the court, and all those. So these days we are seeing that we are getting a lot of inquiries of D&O. In fact, we're also seeing that I was just talking with 3 of my CEOs, friend from the insurance company. For them, we are working to provide the DNO for the insurance company even, which they were not taking it seriously earlier, you know. So this is the other area, as Talal was giving in the presentation, that cyber, you know, because of you know, this is the time where everybody is desperate to get something or the other, so the scammers, you know, to put hands on wherever possible to make some buck. This is the time where people look seriously to buy cyber liability insurance as well, which is something where we can act and we can help them and advise them the right. So because as we say in insurance for the companies, you know, all size doesn't fit for all, because we had to evaluate. Your business is different. Every business is different, you know. So this is something also I wanted to add here, which I forgot.
Oh, very well said. It is not, it has to be tailor-made for sure, even if it is a worldwide situation. And I'm sure a lot of the policies and the changes are worldwide, but it's still, thank goodness, it has to be tailor-made to make sure it covers your needs for your company. We actually have another very interesting question here. It's actually like a bit of, if you could actually clear up something for them. For example, the information you were talking about, I guess it was Smala, the toothbrush you mentioned, Mr. Talal. I heard, he said, I'm reading it. I heard that some insurance companies use or incorporate with other application providers like Google Maps, Waze, as an example, to determine the risk and quote their clients to the data they get from these companies. And is this considered client private information? I mean, just to your, you know, just as an example, an overview on that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard that before, so that's news to me. But to that point, there are some insurtechs where you download the mobile app 2 weeks before you want to buy the policy, and it just monitors your driving behavior and prices based on that versus pricing on your, you know, age, gender, nationality, things like that. So we've seen some pretty cool innovations happening in the motor insurance space as well.
That's the telemetric, you know, which Talal, I just want to, you know, propel that discussion, that's the telemetric which Talal is referring to, is normally also being used now when underwriting a behavior of, like, you know, a motor policy, for example, instance, for someone, which will help the policyholders. But contrary to what your question was, I could not understand whether he wanted to say that, yes, people, normally they are using third party like software like GPS and all those. So I think they are not talking about negative. They're talking all this is good for you, which normally what they do on the insurtech side.
Yeah, I think, I mean, exactly. I think a lot of people shouldn't be afraid of technologies. I think they're actually quite positive because of the fact that do help with behavior modification or things to how we can actually better things. Don't be afraid of some things you don't know. Of course, you know, be a little self-conscious of how you use them, don't abuse them, but I think they're out there for a reason. What else would you like to add on technology's parts? Let's say, did you see a huge changeover, a huge rush because of COVID-19? Like, you had to like sprint forward like faster than you thought you would, Talal?
Yeah, so I guess, you know, when things are driven through technology, you get to see data evolving much faster. So, you know, obviously our platform was quite important for companies transitioning to move from home, right? So we were actually able to see through our data, because people are checking in through their smartphone to the office versus a biometric system, because people obviously don't want to have something where everyone's touching the same device. So we saw massive adoption there, and we had to actually optimize it for work from home, right? So people could actually start checking in from home because employers want to make sure that people are keeping up with their routine. We had to deprioritize things because, for example, we saw that, it goes to a question around what's the premium increase for health insurance due to COVID. In real time, we saw that the number of health insurance claims coming in from our customers decreased by 70 to 80% in the span of 1 week, right? So people stopped going to the clinics, right? And we had to actually launch telemedicine. It took us 2.5 weeks to go live with so that people could actually get healthcare. Part of it was driven by the government, right? So they actually said insurance companies can no longer cover any elective treatments or non-emergency treatments. It was effective from March till I think mid-May, right? So people weren't able to actually go to the doctor anymore, so that they made sure that all the healthcare workers and capacity was available to treat the pandemic. So that made us switch from one product we were building to prioritizing things like telemedicine, so that our customers could still get some care even though they couldn't go to the clinic or hospital.
Yes, I think that's absolutely fascinating. Telemedicine. My husband actually is a medical professional as well, so we found that absolutely fascinating because of the fact that the patients accepted it more readily. Before it was like, and now it's like, it makes such a big difference.
It's a good experience, absolutely. Like, most people were very hesitant, as you said, to adopt it. But once they used it the first time, they found it was a pretty great experience. Today you open the app, you talk to a doctor, their prescriptions are submitted and delivered to your house, right? All through your smartphone.
Exactly. And I would say too, we do save quite a bit of time with the traveling time and things like that, which is a bonus. We do have to accept that a lot of these things are absolutely wonderful, and you can actually have, as you're saying, the medical consultation in most cases done online, which is lovely. So let's get back to a couple more of the questions, sorry, because I would love to ask, but let's find out what our audience wants to know. Do you see there will be a premium increase for health insurance due to COVID? And also, what is the impact of the premiums for travel insurance? I think, people are maybe afraid, maybe also because of having this as a global experience, that everything might skyrocket and they won't be able to get the coverage. I don't know. You'd be best to answer this. Go ahead.
Okay, let me answer this one. There is an advancement in insurance industry, and which is backed by technology now. So that, bear in mind that insurance is being disrupted like other major industries, grappling with the risk and opportunities of new technologies, hopefully all for good. And technology is changing even the nature of the risk, and they're enabling new product services on an everyday basis. Okay, now we are talking about the COVID and people they're afraid of, or for instance, to give an example of health insurance sectors, even before COVID or after COVID, the people who are more conscious, the people who are using wearables, the technology of Fitbit and all those which is in the markets, are Misfit and all those sort of, these are wearable biometric sensors, and which are used in, in health and life insurance. That is transforming a lot in terms of data collection, which goes, and the insurance firms with unprecedented data on the health of their clients, they can reduce the cost of your normal policy premium than people who are not using that. So this is one example. So insurers are already leveraging these type of biometric sensor to give incentive to policyholder to adapt. And the same way, if we talk about now COVID, yes, the to answer is definitely with the COVID, the people who have been their behavior has been as such that they have kept themselves away. There was no one in the family history and all, which is going to be asked probably after once the containment is done. And there will be a stimulating digital transformation, as I was telling you. So for that, they should be prepared that their data could be monitored. And then based on that, they will have a variance of the premium, which will be more effectively employed in the near future. If we talk about the travel, yes, at this particular moment, most of the insurance company, they are not covering the COVID, obvious reason because of, but at the same time, there are some companies which has just come with potential gains on the travel side, which they thought of, spending. And as you know that whenever any product which if you launch and in terms of from the underwriting perspective, it has to go for an actuarial test. It means the actuaries, with their data scientists, they look into the implications that if I'm going to put this particular benefits and whether the total policy which you are going to sell it, because insurance is pooling, and when the total policy for a product which you have launched, if that covers the benefit which is going to be given to everyone, it's not for individual, so they cover the gap. If it was like, for one person, if they got the hit, but the others, they were okay, so that's okay, fine. So there are some companies which now on the travel side has come and they're providing, but one or two only company which I heard recently. That's it, I can say. But yes, there will be some differences in the later future.
That actually does make sense. They actually got one question on my private chat here. They were asking, services like what you're doing with technologies, can that fit into any company's budget? I mean, some of it sounds like, maybe it sounds like, oh, this is too rich for my budget. I can't really afford it in my business. I believe that it's probably essential that they have something that what you're offering, because the integration of all the factors plus the perks, and because it's a technology, I'm assuming, and so I would like you to be able to explain, would that go for a SME? Could it go for an individual that has their own little company, or obviously some larger company?
Yeah, I mean, so, the average customer for us is around 45 employees, but the median's obviously substantially lower. So we have, typically any company over 15 employees starts requiring a cloud-based solution and needs to move away from manual processes. Now, the disruption here is really that we've created a business model where today as an SME, you have to purchase private health insurance for your employees, right? Which is actually a highly commoditized product, right? Meaning that as an SME, for the same set of benefits from the same insurer, you'll get it for the same price through any channel, right? So again, the point is that traditional services are still being provided the same way they've been for almost 100 years now. They're being underwritten and priced the same way. So it's highly commoditized. And what we're able to do is say, this is a utility at this point, right? Because by law, everyone has to purchase it. And that creates a utility effect on products. And through that purchase, you're able to actually get a much wider value proposition. So health insurance has now become a feature of a wider employee benefits platform, right? So that's how we're able to actually say we're going to give it to you at no cost.
Yeah, that is actually, it is amazing. I mean, I personally love technology and any type of integration that helps you not make work redundant, but not even just the redundancies, the fact that you have also stimulated the perk packages in that. I think that's absolutely fascinating. And we thank you, because that is the right direction to be going. So keep going there. Make sure you come back and tell us more about it. We're getting closer to the end of this webinar session, which doesn't mean we're at the end, but it does mean that if there's any other questions you have that are popping up at the moment, if not, I'll make sure they get to our amazing panelists today. Which maybe you'd like to add something, Aftab? Tab and Tanal, I would love to hear if you'd like to have any closing comments. And I just want to take 1 second again to thank our participating business councils, the British Business Group of Dubai, the Tunisian Business Council of Dubai, and the Pakistani Business Council of Dubai. Our supporting councils are very helpful because we like to work together to make sure that you get the information that you need. So maybe there's something you'd like to close off with. Thank you.
Okay, good. See, I want to emphasize on a few things, which is like, as I was telling earlier, and that's the reason of bringing Talal on board with to speak in this particular webinar, was that consumers have grown accustomed, as we all know, to living in a digital world, for you talk about shopping, banking, communicating, and many other activities. So they now expect also in the insurance domain, their insurers to provide and deliver a digitally enhanced experience and to play a central role in underwriting insurance policies and all. And that's where we make a differentiation ourselves as Arya Behzad. That partnership, when Arya was taken over by Behzad, overall customers are likely to gain from this digitalization, which we are working with on the platform we are offering to the customers. As Talal was talking about, that this is more like health insurance I'm talking about, especially, is more like a commodities, which has come. So it means the bigger the advantage, you slide to go that side. So it will mean higher quality and less time consuming and redundant sort of care, much of it delivered remotely in its customer's own home, which we are doing that. Like you talk about delivering medicine, telehealth, and all these things. So with digitalizations, insurers, I can see they can be at the forefront of the effort which we are doing ourselves, to give consumers more information, more choice, and better service while helping them lead a healthier life, okay? But at the same time, with the emerging technologies and innovations which are beginning to transform, as I said, the insurance landscape, they also enable new ways, to measure the risk, which engage with customers, and then we can help them out to reduce cost. And then we can also, give them a guidance to improve their efficiency and expand their insurability. At the same time, I should also say, surrounding to the situation at this particular moment, as a comprehensive and holistic view, that don't ignore this. This is something which is very important, whether it be individual, whether it be organization, SMEs, corporate, large corporate, whoever it is. This is very important. And to conclude my thought, I must say, to get the most of our people during this crisis, we must take care of our own people. Secure the health of yourself first, your family, and your people. And build the mindset to handle fear, first of all, which is very important. And also to deploy with accountability, which reflects changes of the new normal, the new business model, so that you can control the controllable, and avoid overestimating. And then I should use calibrate our internal resources everybody has got, and adjust your operation to new business model to secure business continuity. That's all I can say from my side. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It is absolutely true. I love the fact that you use the term technologies are measuring tools. So therefore, they help us have a tailored individual product or service for whatever the needs be. And again, thank you for taking care of yourselves, because we want that. I'm going to have you close off, Talal, because I really appreciate it. But I want to also say again, thank you, gentlemen, for your time, because you with these webinars help shorten the social distancing gap, because we're getting the information out to the right people. Is there something you want to tell us about either your hopes or what you would like to see happen? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think for us as a company, the vision has always been, how do we make a world-class employee experience accessible to every company, right? And that having that driven through technology, right? So, to the question where you were asking about the question someone's asking about, does it make sense for SMEs to adopt these technologies? I think, our goal is to have it, to make it make sense, right? To make it really easy for companies to adopt technologies, just like they do in their personal lives, right? People love adopting new technologies, and I think that's starting to come into the workplace now, and businesses have to evolve, and we want to make it very easy for them to do that.
Well, I think I think you're in the definitely in the right direction. My ask is that maybe you can make it accessible even for the family-run businesses, the smaller businesses. They would really probably in this moment like a helping hand, and I'm sure you're already in that direction. All I can do is thank you so much for your time. That's above all, and we're looking forward to obviously all the business councils, especially the ones participating today. We'd like to know how we can give back to you. So even to our participants as well, but to our panelists, if we can share the information somehow, if you'd like to come back again. And everyone is obviously wishing you the best. Sorry, my eyes keep flipping over there to read little messages coming on the chat. They want to thank you both. You were very, very informative. But my favorite part is that you're very accessible. So we'd like to know that can we send out your information so people can reach out to you? We would love to do that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you very
gentlemen.
much,
You stay
everyone.
safe. I wish everyone the best.
I can always say, to give a big warm applause to both of us, but we will not be able to listen. But of course, your sentiment will definitely reach us through your feedback and comments, which you can leave after the webinar, on your survey page.
Exactly, and we'll be sending out all the information to everyone. This is going to be recorded, so please feel free to share this with your friends so that we can spread the good news. All right, thank you. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourself.